Hi, welcome to my course on JavaScript. My name is Lawrence. In the previous video, we were able to introduce the course, look at the content, the different things we are going to cover in this course. Before we continue with JavaScript, I want us to first look at what programming is. So in JavaScript, we write programs, and it's important that we understand what programming is to be able to understand JavaScript. So what is programming? Programming is a process of designing, writing, testing, and maintaining computer software. It involves creating sets of instruction or code that a computer can execute to perform specific tasks or solve problems. Now, looking at a computer is smart. We talk of smart devices, smartphone, because they do amazing stuff, right? So, but as smart as these devices are, they can't operate on their own. They can do smart stuff, amazing stuff, but for them to be able to do the smart stuff, they need some set of instructions to be able to perform those operations or tasks. Let's take for instance, as a human being, if you are you are supposed to do a task that you haven't done before, you don't even know how to do, and then there must be some set of instructions on how to perform those tasks. So let's say you bought a device. A device comes with like a manual. The manual helps you understand how to use that device. So these are set of instructions. And let's say you are supposed to cook a meal, and this particular meal you haven't prepared it before and you don't even know how to prepare it, but there's an assignment and you have to do it, and it must be you. Now, for you to be able to achieve that task, which is cooking a meal that you haven't cooked before, you need some instructions, and there must be some form of guidance in written form or otherwise on how to go about preparing that meal. So in the human form, that is an instruction, or those are instructions. So it can be like it can be something like you have to first prepare the pot. Let's say you're supposed to prepare something like yam. You have to prepare the yam. Um, you have to peel it, remove the bark, what is not needed, and all of that. You wash it and cut and do some things just to make sure that at the end of the day we have a yam that can be consumed by whoever needs to consume it, right? So those instructions are what you act on to be able to perform that task. So even though you haven't prepared that meal before, but because those instructions were written down for those into food stuff, they call that recipe, right? So those instructions are written down, and once you follow those instructions properly, you'll be able to prepare the meal even though you haven't done that before. So it's the same thing with computers. Whatever I want a computer to do, a computer cannot just start doing it without my instructions. So if I give a computer a task, then I have to give instructions on how that task can be achieved. So that is what programming is. So if I want to have a software that will, let's say, add certain numbers together, I have to teach the computer how to add numbers together. I have to tell the computer that if you have first number, you have second number, add them together, and this is how you add it, and you have the answer. So that is what programming is. So to be able to design that calculator, I'll have to write code, I have to write instructions. So those set of instructions are what we call code, and the process of writing those instructions is what we call programming. So when you're writing a program, basically you're writing instructions, a set of instructions that the computer can use to perform task. and solve problems. Right. So I hope that is comprehensive enough. So to be able to give those instructions, we have different languages, so we call them programming languages. Just the way we have different languages that human beings understand. So if I want to give someone instructions, I can give the instruction in different languages. I can choose a particular language that the person understands as well to be able to give that instruction. So, in programming, in writing instructions, even to computers, we have different languages, and JavaScript is one of the languages. So, we have different languages that you can write those instructions or code in. So, we have languages like JavaScript, Java, Python, PHP, Kotlin, C, C++, Swift, Object C, Go, R, TypeScript, Fortran, C Sharp, Rust, and so on. So we have a lot of programming languages. You can Google programming languages to be able to see some of the lists of programming languages that are not covered here. So the programming process involves several stages. So when you are writing a piece of software, there are several stages. You don't just jump and have a software. So there are different stages you go, or you go through to be able to have a program, right? A software. So first we have the planning and design session or stage. So that's the first stage you go through to be able to have a software. So we have the planning and design stage. So you write out the requirements. What do you want your software to do? What don't you want the software to do? What do you want to avoid? So you write all the requirements for that software, and that is in form of documentation. So you have a document that properly describes what you want to achieve with that software. Then next we have the stage where you write the code. So this is where you sit down with your system and you write your code, you test, you compile, you make sure that everything works properly. And then we have the testing and debugging phase. So in this phase you have beyond you have other persons that can test the application as well. So while you write your code, you also test, but this testing and debugging phase is actually meant for other persons on the team to be able to test the application and give you feedback. So in the software development industry, we have people who specifically test applications. They are called QA engineers. So they test the applications, make sure that the application works in line with specifications. And then we have the deployment and maintenance phase, right? So once the application meets the requirement, you can go ahead to deploy, and after deployment you maintain, make sure that everything works properly at all times. That's what maintenance is. Okay, so that these are the stages, and we call this software development life cycle. So if you have ever heard of that, that is these are the phases we have in software development life cycle. Then we have so programs. When you write a program, programs can either be compiled or interpreted. In this case, computers don't understand this our language, right? They don't understand JavaScript. Computers don't understand Python. Computers understand only one language, which is the assembly language, which is made up of zeros and ones. If you look at the background of my slide, you can see I have zeros, 1 0, all this. So this is what computers understand, zeros and ones. But the assembly language is quite difficult for humans to understand. So to be able to work efficiently with computers, we have to come to a balance, right? So we have to come to a point where humans can understand what they are doing and computers can also understand what humans mean. And like I mentioned before, computers only understand assembly language, which is basically zeros and ones, and humans cannot write, or it's very difficult for human beings to write applications in assembly language. So we have what is called high-level programming language. JavaScript is an example of high-level programming language. So high-level programming language are well understood by human beings, but are not understood by computers. So to be able to write an application in a high-level programming language that will be understood by a computer, then we need something that will translate that code into an assembly language that is understood by a computer. So that's where compilers and interpreters come in. So a code can either be compiled or interpreted. So when a compiler is used to translate a program from, let's say, high level programming language to an assembly language, then we say the program is compiled.
Okay, I found this on the web for high level.
So sorry for that. Sorry about that. So we say the program is compiled, and then when an interpreter is used to when an interpreter is used to translate the code from a high level language to an assembly language, then we say the program is interpreted. So JavaScript is an example of an interpreted language. So we have languages like Python, JavaScript, and so on, even PHP that are interpreted. So they use interpreters to translate the code which is written in high level language into assembly language. Then we have some languages which use compilers to translate this code into assembly language. So languages like Java, C, C++ use compilers. All right, so that is it. Then we have different languages for different purposes. Right, so we have in programming we have things like mobile application development, that a set of languages that are used to develop applications for mobile phones. So we have languages like Java, Kotlin, and so on that are used to develop applications for mobile phones. Then we have web. So we have applications that run on the web. So we have a set of languages that are used to develop applications for web. So we have languages like JavaScript, Python, PHP, and so on can be used for web application development. We have desktop application development, we have embedded system, IoT, and so on. So we have different languages for different purposes. So for this course, we are going to focus on JavaScript, and JavaScript, like I said in the introduction part, is meant for web. You can use it for web, you can use it for mobile application development, you can use it for desktop application development, you can also use it for IoT, and so on. So thank you for going through this video, and please subscribe on my YouTube channel so that you'll be able to get updates, get new content whenever I drop some content on this course, and even other courses I'll be working on subsequently. You'll get notification and you'll be able to follow along. Thank you, and hope to see you in the next video.